to my channel, and more importantly, welcome to my game room, my most favorite room in my house. Today I'm going to be doing a review on something that I'm super stoked to finally be doing a review on. What you see behind me right here is my brand new 50-inch 4-player MegaCade, built by a company in, I think it's Mosinee, Wisconsin. I don't know how to pronounce it, but they're from Wisconsin, and they are called Extreme Home Arcades. This particular machine has 65,000 plus games on it, which is more games than you can play in a lifetime, I can assure you. But they give you the most, they give you the best, and so far I love it. I'm going to give you a little bit more info on how it's packaged and how it came to me personally. I took some video footage of the lift gate on the truck and when the delivery came to my home and how they palleted it and how it was delivered to my front door. So I want to show you a little bit about what you can expect if you're going to order a machine like this and how it's going to come to you. It's packaged just phenomenally. Everything was nice and safe. I'm going to show you the first unveiling of it and all that good stuff. And then we'll get into the nuts and bolts of the whole thing. Maybe I'll take you through, show you a little bit of the underside of the control panel there. You can get a look at the wiring. And then we'll talk a little bit about the computer system and some of the hardware. So I got light guns underneath with recoil on them, which are super fun to play. There's a Wii bar up top, so if you own a Wii, you can actually sync your Wiimotes to it and play all the Wii games that are on it. And then there's a Trackball, which is my personal favorite. We play a ton of Golden Tee golf here. And if you're playing any of the newer emulators, so just to backtrack, there's 150 systems on this, right around there. And by systems, I mean Atari, all the way from the early Atari systems all the way up to PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, Nintendo Wii, N64, and all the handhelds in between, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, PSP, Game Gear, you name it. And when you go into some of these systems, they just have every single game ever made for that particular console, which is quite amazing. But when you want to play some of the newer console games like PlayStation 1 and 2, you're going to want to use some of these wireless controllers. So there's a lot of hardware that comes with it, which is fantastic. It just enables you to play all of these games. So I'll go through and I'll show you how some of this stuff works, and show you how the guns and the Wiimote and the Trackball and everything works. I'm mainly in this machine. I mainly bought this machine for the original arcade games. I grew up in the arcades. I love the arcades. So the arcade classics is my main reason for buying this machine. However, the console games are just sweet to have. I mean, you can't deny that. Anything you want, it's there. So let's go ahead and dive on in, and I'll start showing you guys what you need to see. Here's the deal. I've been waiting to do this video for a while. I got a brand new 4-player MegaCade from formerly Dream Home Arcades, now from Extreme Home Arcades. And this is the truck. I want to kind of document the delivery, how it's packaged, give everybody the full experience of what they can expect when one of these bad lads shows up at their residence. However, I got to try and get it in the front door, and I'm not going to leave it in the garage. So we'll see how that goes. Oh, there she is. Yep, careful now. Yep, looks like it's packaged pretty freaking good. Yep, easy there. Alright, once he gets it down on the ground, I'll pick up and document some more here. Alright, just in the nick of time. It's starting to rain again, which sucks. But anyway, here we are on the front porch. I mean, I ripped a little bit of the black plastic wrapping off, so that was all me there, but this thing is packaged like a son of a bitch. It definitely is a good package job. You can see there's warnings all over it. It has shock indicating devices installed inside. And here's my front door, so I got it close to the double door. So we'll go ahead and document a little bit more of this once we get her inside. Unveiling. It's like Christmas morning right now. Oh, man. They definitely spared no expense in packaging this shipment. Oh my god. Oh, jeez. Well, here we go. This took me about 4-month wait, and almost exactly 4 months to the day. Oh my god. Alright, this is going to be my PS3 style remote. This is my cat. Operation manual. Oh my god. Oh geez. Power cable, TV remote. Oh my, alright, so there you have it. MegaCade X. Got my light guns underneath. Pow! Alright, cool. So first things first here, we're going to take a look at the front of the machine. I'll show you guys a little bit about the cabinet here. As you can see, my particular MegaCade is skinned out in Mortal Kombat side art and kick panel art. And same goes for the control panel here. This is all NetherRealm Mortal Kombat. Now the cool part about this company is, you can see I named it the MegaCade X. I didn't have to stick with that. I could have called it Scantron's Arcade or whatever I wanted to call it, and that's the cool part about this company. So when you have a machine built here, as you can see, I picked Mortal Kombat style side artwork and a Mortal Kombat marquee, but you do not have to do that. You can name it whatever you want to name it. They can actually, well, there's artwork on this side of the machine, but I just don't have it pulled out right now. You can name it whatever you want. Phil's Arcade, Peggy's Arcade, whatever you feel like doing. If you got family pictures of your dog, you can have them skin your machine out with pictures of the family dog. You can also skin it out with your favorite sport teams or whatever it is that you're into. Take pictures of your girlfriend, put her on the side art. They will do it for you. So let's go ahead and open up the control panel, and I'll pull out the back and you can take a look at the hardware inside, and then we will dive into the gaming. So right here, I'm not sure if you can see it all that well, but I have loosened a screw. There's one on each side of the top of the playfield here, and what that does is it enables you to lift up the entire control panel so that you can get to the underside of it. Everything is plugged in via USB hub, and here you'll see just a crow's nest of wiring, all done professionally, I can assure you, but there's a lot of it. This is your iPack board, which basically routes all of these buttons and joystick and trackball and everything. It tells the computer what to do. So these are essentially all keyboard strokes. It has remapped these buttons and joysticks to be recognized as buttons and joysticks, when typically this is all ran on a PC, so a PC would be essentially controlled by a keyboard, and the iPack board there changes all of that over and tells the computer that you are pushing button number 1 or fire button number 1 instead of whatever corresponding key on a keyboard it would normally be. You get the point. I thought about trying to build one of these on my own. I probably would have taken just a lifetime to do that. So as you can see, there's quite a bit more involved here than your average Joe would be trying to learn how to do in order to build one of these machines. Let's open up the back and I'll show you what's back here. Okay, so here is the back side of the machine. I've pulled it out from the wall a little ways, and you can see back down in here There's some lighting. I actually added this lighting on my own. It's rope lighting. It goes underneath the machine and illuminates the floor through the front and underneath of the control panel. You can have them add this lighting to the machine. It's an extra fee. I decided that I would just go ahead and add my own, which I did. And as you can see, try and get you down in here a little ways. There is the 8 terabyte hard drive, basically the game drive. And here's your PC and all of its hookups. This is it's an H110 system board with a 7th gen quad-core i5 processor, 8 gigabytes DDR4, 2666 megahertz RAM, a GTX 1050 GPU with 500 watt EVGA power supply. I don't really know a lot about this stuff. I'm not a huge computer guy. I am tech savvy enough to get through the day and do what I need to do, but I can assure you that this is more than enough power needed to run all of these games on the machine. And now we can go ahead and get into the machine and take a look at some of those games. Alright, so let's start out with the arcade classics, my personal favorite category of this system. So as you can see, we're in the main hyper spin wheel here, and we're going to go to arcade classics. Now when that pops up, we're going to hit player button 1 start, and that is going to enter us into the arcade classics area. Looks like one of the last games I was playing was Jackal, but now we can go through all of the arcade classics. I think there's around 5,000 or 6,000 games in just the arcade classics alone. These are the games that were in the arcade, and they're all in alphabetical order. Now you can choose to use a search feature which only goes by the first letter of each game. So let's say I want to look for Mortal Kombat. If you hold the joystick either right or left, an alphabet will pop up. And then all I'm going to do is simply just go to the letter that the first letter of the name of the game that I want to play. So M, everything is always controlled by player 1 start. Now we're at the top of the games that start with the letter M. I'm sorry if I'm wasting my breath on everyone who already knows how to use Hyperspin, but there's a lot of people who don't, so this is just my little way of showing anyone who potentially might want to buy one of these machines how it works. So now I'm in the M's. I'm basically going to hold down until I start seeing Mortal Kombat style logos. The cool thing is all of the wheel art in here. I mean, look, you get a video display of the game. It shows you how it plays. It tells you what revision it is. This is actually revision 3.1 actually. Here we are, revision 4.2, and now we are revision 9.1, and these last two are hacked versions. So if you want to play some of the challenger hacks and stuff that were developed for these games back in the day, you have that opportunity on this machine. So let's just go to one of the normal versions of Mortal Kombat 2, and we'll enter in there and I'll show you some of the gameplay. Now, I had these buttons laid out this way specifically for me. This is an 8-button layout. So here's player 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 are thumb buttons basically. And I had that done because I wanted the layout to be either more of a Street Fighter with the 6 buttons or a Mortal Kombat style where these are block and then I got a run button down here. You can do it any way you want. That's the cool part about this company. They will lay this out the way that you want it laid out. Now here we are playing Mortal Kombat 2. It's in a track, no actually it's not in a track mode. I'm just getting my ass kicked right now, not paying attention. There's a volume control underneath and you can spin this and turn the volume up. So now you can hear it a little louder. And the cool part about 99% of these games is they have bezel artwork. So when these games were designed, they were not designed to have a CRT monitor blown up to a 50-inch screen. So the cool thing is they now can expand that screen in the 25-inch arcade style, blow it up, and then have a bezel on the outside to make it look prettier, which is great. So let's go ahead. I have it on free play, so let's just do some fighting. I mean, the MAME emulation of this is fantastic. They did a great job on it. The gameplay is awesome. And you can map these controllers to do whatever you want. So I have, without trying to lose the fight here, you can actually map these buttons to be anything you want, to be block or high kick or whatever, and that's what it does. So let me go ahead and back out of this so I don't waste too much time on one game. Here we go on the volume, so let's turn that back down. Some games are louder than others. Let's go into my short list. So the cool thing about being in any part of the main wheel is that you can save any game to a favorites list. So let's say I want to save whatever this game is, this Ninja Gaiden, my bad. Let's hit, favorites is going to be button 6. So when I hit button 6, I can either view my favorites or I can add this game to my favorites. I don't want to add it, it's not one of my favorites, but let me go into view. So we hit player 1 start, and now we are in my favorite games. So these are all of my favorite games. Jurassic Park is actually a gun game, so we would get the light guns out to play that. I'll show you some light gun play shortly. Killer Instinct 1 and 2. Now there is something really cool that I'd like to make sure you guys are aware of, because this is one of the biggest games that was never released. There's Primal Rage, and then I actually called Dave up and I said, listen, I'd really like, I've seen an emulated version of Primal Rage 2, which was never released in the arcade, and there's only like 2 known instances of that game even in existence, and now I actually have it as a playable game on my MegaCade. I called Dave, I said, is there any way that we can get this on my machine? And within 24 hours, he had sent me screenshots of the game and told me it was playing flawlessly on their machine, and he was right, and here it is. So let's play a little bit of Primal Rage 2, and then we'll get into some other games, and I'll show you how some of the other system games work. Alright, so some of the bezels are going to be generic. They're just going to put a bezel around that screen because whatever the reason may be. They don't have artwork for that game. So obviously Primal Rage 2 was never released in the arcade. They don't have bezel artwork and cabinet art for it. So let's turn the volume up a little bit. And I'll just show you a little bit of the menu here and some of the gameplay. So if you want to play as one of the original characters, because you're playing as their avatar now, you would hold up, I think, on the joystick. There you go. And then you actually turn in to their dinosaur character. No idea what I'm doing on this game. All I know is I've had some fun playing it with some of my other buddies that come over. You can actually momentarily turn into your avatar, like I just did there with, I believe it was Blizzard, and you can murk your opponent for a moment. So as you can see, everything's nice and quick. The gameplay is really nice. There's no choppy weirdness. Let's back out of this, and I'll show you guys something else in the system. Alright, so here's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, one of my favorite arcade games of all time. Let's go ahead and I'll show you how the 4-player aspect of this particular playfield works. So I'm going to hit player 1 start to enter the game. If you ever want to exit a game, you actually hit player 1 start and hold it, and then tap player 2, and it'll back you out of it. So here we are. I already had a game loaded previously. Let's go ahead and add, I'm going to add some quarters by tapping the $sign here. That's how you coin the machine up. And that is actually, it looks like it's Michelangelo. And then we're going to hit, this is Raphael. So now all 4 players are coined up. I'm going to hit start. I'm going to hit a punch or a kick button, and now you can see all 4 turtles are now playing on the game. And you can get a family of 4 or 4 buddies on here and just totally rock out and play the original Ninja Turtles. And again, if you want that bezel to go away, you hold player 1 start and hit up, and then it removes the bezel and just leaves it as full screen as it can without stretching it. It's a great feature to have. Turn it on, turn it off, whatever you like. Let's back out of this game, and I'll show you guys something else here. Let's go to light guns and take a look at some gun games. Alright, here we are. So this is Area 51. I've queued up Area 51 because this is an arcade classic. Everybody knows this gun game. I mean, most people should. So I'm going to add a few coins. Now here's the gun. This is an Ultimark light gun, and this actually has a recoil. I paid extra to have the recoil gun, so when you aim it at the screen, it knows that you are aimed at the screen. So if you're shooting, there's a little piston inside of it that actually has a magnet system, and it pulls it back in and pops it in and makes that snap sound that you're hearing. If you want to disable that because, let's say, it just becomes too obnoxious for you over time, you can actually unplug just the power side of the cable down below, and it will take care of that problem for you. So let's hit start, and I'll show you a little bit of the gun gameplay. Now you're going to see a cursor on the screen, which you can actually, I think you can disable it if you want to. I personally like having the cursors on there when I'm playing these games. And as you can see, it is nice and responsive. These games are just fun to play, especially when you have two players on a gun game, and you want to go through and play one of your favorite arcade gun games. Can't shoot these guys because I think you get penalized for it or something. But there's a lot of hunting games on here. There's trophy hunting. Oh, I gotta reload, my bad. So again, here's what this gun looks like. So you get the gist. I'm gonna go ahead and holster this bad boy for now, and we'll go ahead and back out of this, and I'm going to take you to one of my personal favorite games. This game we probably play more than any other game on the machine. Golden Tee Golf Complete. I actually used to have this machine in my basement in Michigan before I moved down here to Florida, and that's really why I have limited space for arcade games, and the main reason why I wanted to have a machine like this built and have available to play in my game room, because it basically gives me back every arcade game that I used to own and about 65,000 more to play. So here we are, Golden Tee Golf. Now the big reason I want to show you guys this is because I have played some MAME versions of Golden Tee and they suck. I actually have my machine sitting next to it, my Mortal Kombat 2 machine. I installed a MAME board in there with a little trackball, and it is so unresponsive, it's horrible. So let's coin up this machine, and I'll show you how responsive this trackball is. So scroll up and down to select, and then we're going to just pick a course that we want to play, which is wherever it lands. We'll hit that course. Pick if you want all 18 or 9. Now I can tell you after owning this game, because I like to compare things from the actual arcade game to a MAME version of that game, and the ones I played before were so delayed you could barely play. This is literally no different than playing on the actual Golden Tee Complete machine that I used to own. I had a dedicated machine. So here, flyby, you can see everything you need to see. And the best part is there's no delay, and it plays as flawlessly as the actual arcade game. I mean, I can shoot just devastatingly low rounds in here because it is, you know, not there, but you get the point. It's just as responsive as the arcade game. So the trackball, there's plenty of trackball games to be played in this machine, and this is the best one in my opinion. Okay, so let's get into some console gaming, just to look at what some of the console games do. These are groupings. I'm in the main wheel, so these are groupings. These are just Nintendo classics all grouped together in a category. These are also just categorized versions of these games. So Sega classics, SMK classics, Taito classics. What you're going to find when you go in here is all different versions of those games. It's going to be console versions of the game, arcade versions of the game, you name it. Once we get past all this stuff and we get down into the actual systems, now there's PC games too, tons of PC games, super fun to play, but I'm looking for console so I can show you what some of the console games look like. So here we are. Atari, American Laser Games, Luxor 80, like what is that? Look at this. I've never even heard of this, but it's available to play if you want to play it. So we're going to get into Apple, Atari, all the different versions of Atari. Here's the Jaguar. let's go to the NES, Nintendo Entertainment System, wherever that may be. These are all systems, so when you go into the systems, here we go, Nintendo Entertainment System. We're going to go into Nintendo. Now we're in Nintendo, and there is every game for Nintendo pretty much ever made. I'm pretty sure these are all the games ever made for Nintendo. So let's just, let's go to Super Mario Brothers. Again, we'll long press the joystick to the right, it'll bring up the alphabet. I think it would start with S being super. Actually, we can go to T and then go up and see if Super Mario Brothers is here. And there it is, Super Mario Brothers. Let's play that real quick and you can get an idea of what some of the console games look like. Basically just a quick extraction and then the game is up and you're playing it. So again, it offers a bezel effect on the side so it's not stretching or manipulating the screen. There we go. So jump and obviously it's a little different to be playing this game with joystick and buttons, but I prefer it, so it's all personal preference. Anyway, so there's Super Mario Brothers. You get the gist of that. It's got all the Super Mario Brothers. It's got everything for Nintendo. Let's back up out of here, and then I will show you guys some of the newer next-gen consoles that they have available. Let's go to PlayStation 2. Here we go. So we'll go into PlayStation 2, and this is going to require the use of one of these wireless controllers that we have for the system. So let's go in here. I'm going to go ahead and turn on. The green light means that they are now synced with the machine and ready to play. So let's go to Grand Theft Auto. And again, here's all the games for PlayStation 2. Pretty sure it's every game ever made for PlayStation 2. There is Grand Theft Auto. Alright, so let's turn on Vice City. There's San Andreas, Liberty City. Let's turn on Vice City Stories. Why not? I think I already had that game loaded up once. So, of course, on these systems, these are bigger games, so it's going to take a minute for the game to extract. So you just want to give it, give it some time to extract that game. Actually, this looks like it pretty much loaded right up. Okay, we got you. Here's the Player One controller. I have played this game before, so it looks like it may have already extracted and held the data so that it just loaded right up, which is great. So let's see how long. Typically, I remember playing this on my PlayStation 2, and that took minutes, at least a minute for that to happen. And as you can see, it's already done. So here's the opening scenes of the game. You can just advance by hitting, this is the A button, but really it's the X button. Alright, here we go. I'm just going to keep advancing so you can see. Here we are. So, big beautiful screen. The gameplay is identical to the system. It's a PlayStation 3 style controller with the lower trigger buttons. And let's go fight one of these guys real quick and then we'll move on to another. There we go. Okay, so there we go. We can die real quick and head out of here, and we'll check out some other parts of the system. Alright, so here we are at the Nintendo Wii. I'm not actually a huge Nintendo Wii guy. My kids have a Wii, but we have the remotes. So what I'm going to do here is I've turned on my Wii remote, and as you can see, it has recognized that it is synced to the machine. Because up here there is what's called a dolphin bar, and it is essentially just a Wii bar. So let's go into the Wii, And let's play Mario Kart, for example. Everybody likes a little bit of Mario Kart. Here's Mario Kart. See, that has extracted rather quickly. And I'm going to try and show you guys the remote working from back here, but let's see. So, there we go. So here is my remote, and I am now playing the Wii. I believe it has every Wii game made on this console as well. So let's just go ahead. I'm trying to look through the back of my camera and play at the same time. It's getting hard. Yeah, Mario. Let's go. So I'll show you quick gameplay, and then we will move on. I think 1 and 2, like 1 is gas or something. Let's go. So, although Wii is not in HD, it was not designed to be in HD. Oh, we went backwards first. You can see it's very responsive. It's playing just the same way that it would if I were playing it on the actual Wii console. It's actually more fun to play it on this because this room is meant for gaming. So we'll just come in here, queue them up, and play. But for being a system that was never designed in HD, it was also designed with HD in mind. So it looks great. I mean, it plays beautifully. All these Wii games and these console games play perfectly on this machine. So there you have it, Nintendo Wii. I'm going to go ahead and move on to another game and give you guys as much as I can. Okay, so we're back in the regular main wheel. So the main wheel encompasses all of these other systems, and then once you open that system, it takes you into the wheel for that system. So where we are here is, I want to show you guys pinball, because this is a really cool feature to have. This is one of the things that those other companies could not do with my machine. And I like pinball machines. I'm not a huge pinball guy, but I used to actually own a Jurassic Park pinball machine. And I cannot believe how awesome it is to play the pinball on this machine. So let's go ahead and open that up and let that extract. And we'll show you how the pinball works. It's actually fully emulated in HD, and it pretty much just feels like you're playing the actual pinball machine. You coin up using the coin button. Your flippers are left flipper and right flipper, and then this is nudge right, nudge left, and then nudge center. So if your ball gets stuck, which it actually does get stuck because it plays just like the real table, it's just really incredible. So let's go ahead and coin up and play a little pinball.
Hold on to your butts. Hold on to your butts.
Classic Samuel L. Jackson, hold on to your butts. So the center button up here is going to be your plunger, and then there's your flippers. They're super responsive. So there's the plunger. We don't have to get too into this, but I just want to show you how good some of this pinball gameplay is. Now there's, I believe, 3 or 4 different pinball emulators on this. I'm just using Future Pinball right now. I believe there is Pinball FX 2, Pinball FX 3. There's another one called Stern Pinball. This one happens to be my personal favorite. I love the way all the tables play. It's really true to the game as far as how responsive the pinball should be. So if you want to see a different view, I believe middle button is pause and top scores, and the third button is different view. So if you want a scrolling view, it can be dizzying, but it's still cool to use for a minute. So here we are. It just follows the ball all the way around, and you can see how that could actually turn into a problem pretty quick. Here's another view, low angle view, and then fixed view. So I believe what I typically use is full table, and that's what's on default. So there you have it, HD pinball. There are hundreds of tables, and all of the biggest favorite pinball tables are in here. You can actually go to extremehomearcades.com, and there is a section of the website where you can do a search for whatever game you want to play. And if you put that name of that game in the search bar, it'll not only tell you if the game is available, it'll tell you what systems the game is on. So if you put in a game like Mortal Kombat, for example, that was ported to like every system there was. So there's just rows and rows of Mortal Kombat games to play. And if you hover over it, even on your cell phone, when you're using it on mobile view, it will show you, if you tap on it, what system that particular Mortal Kombat game is for, and then you'll know what's actually available. So if you want to search for some of this stuff, if you want to know if your favorite game's on the machine, go ahead and go to the website and do a search. I actually keep a shortcut handy on my phone for that exact reason. And let me see if I can think of one other thing I want to show you guys before I get out of here. Alright, so I'm going to head back up through the menu, and you know what, House of the Dead, I'm not going to play it, but I just wanted to show you that it does have House of the Dead in here, even 1, 2, and 3, and they're just super cool games to play. I love playing House of the Dead, and if you're going to play a gun game on the machine, it's one of the funnest ones to play. So, you get the point. Here's House of the Dead 3. Let's go back up here. There is one other thing. There's actually a plethora of different MAME categories. Like there's hacked version of MAME. So if you want to see what some of the homebrew MAME, this is all, I believe, hacked versions of these MAME games. So you get to enjoy that too. Now here's something you cannot pass up: movies. There's literally a movie cinema on the machine. It's got hundreds of movies on here. So sometimes if we're just sitting around, or we're hanging out and we're hanging out in the game room, you can just turn on a movie. I mean, as you can see, there's just a million movies on here. And there's free updates for life, so that's the coolest part about it. If let's queue up a movie. Here we go, Mortal Kombat Annihilation. Let's queue that up and take a look at it. Dave and the company Extreme Home Arcades, they will update the hard drive for life. If you buy a machine, if they add 20,000 more games or 20,000 more movies or whatever it is to the machine, you can send your hard drive in. So you basically take the 8 terabyte drive out of the back of the machine, send it off to him, he'll get it and turn it around that same day and send it back to you. I actually had him do it once already, and the turnaround was super quick. I actually had one of the first versions. I was one of the first recipients of the 8 terabyte versions of this machine, and I just wanted to update some things a few months after it came out, and he had it turned around and back to me in no time. So here we are, movie's working great. You can fast forward with the joystick, I believe. Pause, yeah, there we go. Just pause and play. I mean, if the movie's in HD, it will be displayed in HD, but there you have it. And there's one other thing here. Look, I mean, there's a season of The Simpsons. I don't know if you guys like the Angry Video Game Nerd, but I personally think the guy's hilarious. I've watched a lot of these Angry Video Game Nerd videos. Digital magazines are super sweet, so if you really enjoyed poring over these magazines when you were a kid, like I remember when Mortal Kombat was getting ready to come out, I would buy these magazines, and if you want to go back to those days and read the old Nintendo Powers or Game Pro or whatever it is, they're in here for you to see. So let's open up this Nintendo Power real quick. I'll show you what this looks like. You can flip through page by page. I mean, this stuff is amazing. It's cool to be able to go back and look at this stuff. So let's go ahead and back out of there. There's also a ton of PC games, PC game categories. There's casino games. If you want to gamble without losing money, that's probably your best bet. I believe there's a jukebox too. Yeah, here it is. There's a jukebox here. I actually dumped like 1,500 songs of just some music that I had on here, and we can listen to it through the Jukebox app. Hey guys, thanks for dropping by my channel today to watch this review video. That's all I got for you. Once again, the company's called Extreme Home Arcades, and they are in Wisconsin. And I believe you can reach them at info@dreamhomearcades.com. They may have changed that to info@extremehomearcades.com. I'm not sure. I know they recently went through a name change because I think they were getting ripped off by a lot of other companies trying to carry on the Dream Home Arcade thing. So they are Extreme Home Arcades. I'm not getting paid a dime by this company. I just love the machine. It's such an awesome machine. If you're gonna spend this kind of money, you're gonna want to go with a company that's gonna give you the machine that has everything you want on it, and also it's gonna have the type of customer service that you want. I can tell you hands down right now, the main reason why I went with this company is because their customer service is flat out amazing. I researched several other companies that came close to this kind of a machine, but they really couldn't offer the amount of games or options that I wanted, and their customer service just sucked. I mean, they would wait a day or two to get back to you, and I just didn't feel the love. So as soon as I called up Dave at Dream Home Arcades, he has been just so responsive. You have a question about anything, he emails you back immediately if you choose to email. If you choose to call, he's usually answering his phone all day. I mean, it's a very solid customer service. So if you're going to spend the kind of money, why would you want to spend it with a company who's not going to call you back or give you the time of day when you have a question? So there's my review. Thanks for stopping by. Feel free to subscribe. Drop me any comments or suggestions below, and I'll see you next time. Peace.